It's been the honor of my life to serve as your president. But in the defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think it's more important than any title. When the decisions we make now will determine our fate of our nation and the world for decades to come. America's an idea. An idea stronger than any army, bigger than any ocean, more powerful than any dictator or tyrant. It's the most powerful idea in the history of the world. That idea is that we hold these truths to be self-evident. We're all created equal, endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights: life, liberty, pursuit of happiness. We've never fully lived up to it, to this sacred idea, but we've never walked away from it either. In just a few months, the American people will choose the course of America's future. I made my choice. I've made my views known. I would like to thank our great Vice President, Kamala Harris. She's experienced, she's tough, she's capable. She's been an incredible partner to me and a leader for our country.
What can be, unburdened by what has been. There are those who are unable to see what can be, but there are many more who are able to see what can be, unburdened by what has been. Remember Venn diagrams, those 3 circles, right? And then let's just see where they overlap. You will not be surprised because I have constructed a Venn diagram on this. Remember those 3 circles, how they overlap? I love Venn diagrams, so I just do. Whenever you're dealing with conflict, pull out a Venn diagram, right? And so, the 3 circles.
Ukraine is a country in Europe. It exists next to another country called Russia. Russia is a bigger country. Russia is a powerful country. Russia decided to invade a smaller country called Ukraine. So basically, that's wrong.
I am Kamala Harris. My pronouns are she and her. I am a woman sitting at the table wearing a blue suit.
Can you talk to us, because, we are in the room, in the epicenter of Black culture this weekend, and there's a lot of folks in here, in particular Black women, how y'all doing, who are in this room who want to take action. They want to protect their rights. They want to be able to move and channel their energy in very intentional ways. What are some of your ideas as to how we can do that, and how important do you think culture is in particular to help us do that?
Well, I think culture is a reflection of our moment and our time, right? And present culture is the way we express how we're feeling about the moment. And we should always find times to express how we feel about the moment that is a reflection of joy, because it comes in the morning. We have to find.
History is in your hands. The power is in your hands. The idea of America lies in your hands. We just have to keep faith, keep the faith, and remember who we are. We're the United States of America, and there's simply nothing beyond our capacity when we do it together. So let's act together, preserve our democracy. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops.
There is just too much going on right now. If you're awake and watching what is happening in this world and not allowing the mainstream to steer your thoughts, but you are using discernment and you are kingdom-minded, it should be very easy to see that we are all being herded in a certain direction. We all may have our own different thoughts about what it is that they are doing and what the agendas are, but none of us know for sure. All we do know is that change is upon us. We know that the world is being girded up for change. This election season in the United States is the most volatile election in the history of the country. Everything is different and unprecedented. From the start of it, it was weird. I mean, Donald Trump has done only one debate since his presidential election started. He did not do one single debate against the Republican candidates. We have never seen that before. After that, he was convicted of 34 felonies. We have never seen a president convicted of felonies before. Then they held the first presidential debate between the two candidates before they even had their conventions, holding the debate at the end of June when they have historically held it at the end of September. They did this debate 3 months earlier than they have ever done the first debate before. We have never seen this before. Then they let Biden come out weak so they can push the narrative that he needs to drop out. We have never seen that before. We have never seen that they wanted to change a presidential candidate 4 to 5 months before the election. Then, while that's going on, Trump has an attempted assassination. We have never seen this before. Yes, presidents have been assassinated or attempted to be, but not presidential candidates. And then what happens next? Biden drops out. We have never seen this before. 4 to 5 months before the election, Biden drops out as the presidential candidate. And of course, Kamala had to be endorsed because it's dumb if they had her running as vice president, but then they said she couldn't handle being president. But for those paying attention, we all know she's not the sharpest tool in the shed. So it's going to be pure entertainment to see what they're going to do with her or what they're going to do with another candidate as they have this open convention. Now, mind you, if they did this debate at the normal time they normally do, they would have never been able to go with this narrative and agenda. There would be no time for this change. So them having this debate 3 months earlier than normal seemed very beneficial for everyone. We have never seen anything like this before. All of this with the backdrop of what happened 4 years ago on January 6th. And all we can do is wait to see what happens next. But the people are easily being steered because they think it's all normal. This election is easily one of the most important elections in the history of this country because of the amount of problems that the country has and the amount of problems that the world has. And the narrative that they have successfully put forth since the last presidential election is that this American experiment of democracy is at risk. Since that January 6th event at the Capitol and the scandal about the election, the narrative is that the American democracy does not work and the country is more divided than it has ever been. People don't even know the issues that are really at stake more than they are against the other party. It's not about the exploding debt, the emergence of AI that is about to take everyone's jobs. It's not the fact that the dollar and all other fiat currencies are dying while Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies are on the rise, especially CBDCs, central bank digital currencies. It's not the fact that the geopolitical conflicts are all reaching boiling points. If you talk to a majority of people today, no one really knows or is even focused on the answer to these problems. They are just against the other party. Democrats against Republicans and Republicans versus Democrats. That's the state of affairs in this country. And while this divide is going on, people ignore that the biggest deal that has kept the currency of the United States afloat for the past 70 years, which was the petrodollar agreement with Saudi Arabia, people don't even recognize that this has not been renewed. The petrodollar is done. Or they don't take notice that NATO has taken their nuclear weapons and put them on standby. Israel has just escalated more war in the Middle East after bombing the Houthis, basically threatening Iran, while they're warning that Iran has the capability now to make a nuclear bomb within days or weeks.
Where we are now is not in a good place. Iran, because the nuclear agreement was thrown out, instead of being at least a year away from having the breakout capacity of producing fissile material for a nuclear weapon, is now probably 1 or 2 weeks away from doing that.
And on top of all this, they are conducting tests on the system, putting out a worldwide system blackout, shutting down the airports and the banks. This was not in one country, but all over the world. And they have the nerve to tell the public it happened all because of a software update. Every week, there's another piece of news that is signaling that we are moving towards an event. And what I do is I ask people that I know that are not kingdom-minded, I ask them, how does any of this change their worldview? And everyone says the same thing, that it doesn't. They all think it's normal, or it's all going to work out in the end. And it is clear that the majority of the world are zombies. They are the walking dead, and they are being herded into change, and they have no clue. And this is because they love the lie and they hate the truth. But for those who are the opposite, you are kingdom-minded and you hate the lie and you love the truth, it has been pressed upon me to warn you that this is the time where you now must truly live up to what you declare in your faith. If you say you have faith and you believe in and trust Yahweh, the Most High, Now is the time above all other times where you must truly make sure you mean it and you live through it. You better know, the world is not coming for the rest of the zombies. They already have them. It's clear. You know who they're coming for? They're coming for you. The devil is doing his last-minute rounds to get those of you that are on the fence. He's coming for those of you that live in the gray area. And many of us who declare strength in our faith may have to prove it before we get to our promises that are coming. And so I want to take this time to warn and prepare those who are kingdom-minded. I want to remind you that you must endure to the end. We have never seen anything like this before. You must gird yourself up and be ready. Let's begin. Okay, so if you've been paying attention, it's not a coincidence that in the middle of the week, I have been putting out videos on the end times. This week, we're at part 15, almost at the point where we get to the millennial kingdom. I have been discussing this subject for about the past 4 months because it's important that there is a study that properly walks each of us down through understanding what is coming to this world and why. If you understand what is coming, then what you're seeing happening right now shouldn't be very alarming to you. So I have a list of advice that I want to give you. It is not in a particular list of importance, but it's all things that you must know and understand. So in order for you to endure to the end, the first thing that you need to know and do is this. Number 1, please stop reacting to every headline and every event that happens. Trump gets shot, Biden steps down, worldwide computer system breakdown, Project 2025, and whatever else they got coming. As these events keep happening, what most of us do is we go on the internet and look around for what other people have to say and look at what the different theories are. It's not that I am telling you not to do that, but for those who are kingdom-minded and you actually understand the end times, it's time that you strengthen your faith to the next level and understand that each headline and event are all about the same thing, just different points to it. It's all the same. In the End Time series, I have said that in order for these prophecies to unfold, it does not happen during times of peace. There is great wickedness that must come upon this earth that separates the world. Judgment is coming to the nations, and there is a complete agenda for the world to be a part of this judgment. You see, if you get down to the heart of the matter in all of this, this has always been about rebellion. Satan has rebelled against Yah and tried to influence mankind to follow him instead of following Yah. He started this agenda in the garden with Adam and Eve. Satan knows that he is in a battle that he will not win, though he has deceived his recruits and followers to believe that he will. He knows he's not going to win and what is destined for him. Though he knows this, he has his own agenda either way. He wants to be like the Most High, and he wants to destroy and pollute as much of our Father's creation as possible. All his agendas are all about destroying our Father's creation. And so right now, the world that we live in, we are completely bombarded with agendas that are all about these two goals: for him to be worshipped like the Most High, and for him to destroy and pollute as much of Yah's creation as he can. This is at the heart of everything that you see in the world, and it is truly imperative that your eyes are open to this reality. If you focus on these conspiracies, it does not bring you power. It can often lead you to be distracted and focus more on the enemy than you are on the kingdom. So you should not focus on the conspiracies, but understand that this world is moving towards the same place. And though there are many different moving parts, there are 3 main agendas that everything, and I do mean everything happening, is all about bringing about. Those 3 main agendas are the coming of the lawless one, the coming of a one-world government, and the coming of a one-world religion. And do you remember when I said Satan's agenda is all about him being like the Most High? These 3 agendas are all about bringing about this one goal. The devil wants his son to be worshipped as the savior of this world, which is what the coming of the lawless one is about. The devil wants a one-world government because it's his version of Israel and the kingdom that Yah has promised, but it's all about his satanic dominion. And the coming of the one-world religion is all about the world worshiping Satan as the Most High. It all leads back to him. So you have all these agendas and conspiracies, all these ministers of Satan, these influencers of wickedness and rebellion. They're all here in order to steer the world into satanic agendas that allow Satan to be like the Most High. When you dig deep enough, it all boils down to this. And so the reason why I say there is no longer a reason to focus on conspiracies is because if you understand what is truly at the heart of the matter, it can help you better understand all these other agendas and why they are happening. And when you break it down to its simplest form, you understand truly that there are only two sides in this world. There is Yahuwah's side and Satan's side. In the end, this all boils down to the side that you decide and choose. So understand, if you're always focused on the conspiracies and the different theories, it is just another weapon of the enemy that you're not thinking of. Just because you're thinking differently than the mind-controlled zombies does not actually mean that you're free. You can still be controlled because your focus is in the wrong place. You're focused more on what the enemy is doing than you're focused on what our Father is doing. I have made a choice in this ministry to try to focus more on the word during these times than what is going on in the world, because I have desired to try to keep the message about the word in focus. But unfortunately, more people like hearing about what the devil is doing more than hearing about the word. What I am saying is that the headlines, they're not going to stop. The events are going to continue to keep happening. For me in this ministry, please know that even when these headlines start happening and these different things start happening, you already know what it is I believe. You are not going to really see me talk about every event unless it is something that is really mind controlling. But if you wonder what I think about this event that happened or the next event that will happen, please know my answer will be the same, and I want your answer to be the same. And if this is the case for you, you will be stronger and less susceptible to the enemy and these agendas. For me, the answer is simple. Whatever is happening is about moving the world towards one of these three satanic agendas: the coming of the lawless one, the coming of a one-world government, and the coming of a one-world religion. I know with a surety that this is coming. I am not on the fence. I'm not living in a gray area. My reality is that the world is moving towards this. And it's not some far distant future, but it's near. So all these events are all about bringing us towards the fulfillment. U.S. leadership in the world is done. Once this is completely settled in your mind, it can help you understand the movie that you're watching right now. U.S. leadership is done. If you go back to the history of the fall of the Roman Empire, before it became the Holy Roman Empire, it did not happen in one day. It was a continuous narrative of an overstressed system that had hit a peak. It's the same thing you're witnessing today. So if you live in reality and fully convicted in it, you don't have to wonder about what this means and what that means. Do not react to each headline. This is very important. This is how they drag people in their agendas. Do not react to every headline. If you understand the agendas, then you will not be moved by how they are leading us through it. If you know where we're headed, then you can understand how these agendas are taking us there. In order for the new world to be built, it means sometimes having to tear the old one down.
We knew that despite all the diplomacy and the handshaking and the rhetoric, that to build a really better world sometimes means having to tear the old one down.
They keep telling us this. It's up to you to understand it and believe it. I mean, they keep talking about all these things to get us off track. People keep asking many different questions like about Project 2025. And the truth is that these things are all distractions. If you live in the overall reality of what is happening, when you hear these other agendas, you will not be swayed by them. Trust and know, if the majority of the people in the world, especially celebrities and mainstream personalities, are speaking about these things, they are not based on truth, but they are a distraction.
I love you all. Make sure you vote. It is very serious. Freedoms are being taken away from us. Wake up. Do the research. Look up 2025 agenda, because next year this time could look very different if you don't vote.
Now let me also say this. There are a lot of videos coming out talking about this prophecy and that prophecy. Make sure you don't fall for any of these things. Turn all that off. People making up these prophecies about Trump, they are not speaking from the side of Yahweh, and they are distracting you. These are distractions. I don't care if they knew that he was going to get shot or whatever they're talking about. I do not care. This has nothing to do with Yah. Do not let these false prophets distract you. These people aren't even thinking about the kingdom. Only thing you want to hear a prophet speak about is what Yah is saying that he's going to do for us. Anyone talking about the fall of this person or that person, that's a distraction. Anybody calling themselves a prophet today, I want to hear what Yah has told them about how he's gathering us. If Yah is not talking to them about how he's gathering us, I don't want to hear any prophets. That's me. That's how I look at things. Let's be clear, you don't need to be a prophet to know that these wicked people are going to fall. And whatever these people are saying about Donald Trump, it does not matter. Because again, if you understand the overall agenda, then these small prophecies mean nothing. Do not let yourself be distracted by false prophets. What I'm saying is be careful on what you're feeding yourself. The next thing you need to know and be aware of is that the devil is trying to get you. For each of us that are desiring Yah and to live in his truth, you must know that the devil is coming for you to get you away. And if you're not diligent and strong and know how to resist him, you will fall. Let me give you an example. I have someone I care about that I've been trying to tell him to focus and understand the times that we're in. Last month, I was able to get his attention and I got him to start watching my videos and discussing them. By the time he got to part 4 of the End Time series about the restoration of Israel, he finally started asking questions and we were getting somewhere in the discussion. So as we were about to close that conversation, I told him that now that he understands this, he needs to be careful and mindful because the devil is going to come at him and get him off track. I told him straight up, the devil is going to try to distract you and get you off of where you are because he does not want you to grow. I told him it's important that you resist him, and he said, I understand. Fast forward 2 weeks, I stopped hearing from him. Next time I hear from him, his whole situation is different. He's basically battling depression, he stopped watching my videos, his focus was totally off from where it was when we last spoke. He was focused on a goal that he had in regards to living in this world, and that goal overtook him. In fact, it was his grandmother that spoke to him and led him off track, and he didn't even realize it. He totally fell and was led astray. I warned him that it was going to happen. I had another friend, same situation. I got him to understand the promises of restoration, and that was the last time I heard from him. I gave him the same warning. The minute they were about to shift their focus and attention to Yah and his promises is the minute the devil stepped in and said, nope. There was a movie made a decade or so ago with Matt Damon, and as they do with everything else, they explain how they work against us. The movie was called Adjustment Bureau. And in this movie, there were these people that looked human. They were a metaphor of demons who were tasked with keeping the world on the path that they were guiding it to. Now, amongst the many other things that they said in the movie, the most telling thing, and it's the reason why I'm bringing it up, is that they show how they put things in our path that are meant to move us away from the direction that we wanted to go. Matt Damon was trying to be with the woman that he loved, and they would put many different obstacles in his path that was trying to stop him from this happening. While he was trying to get up with her, random people would be trying to get his attention, people randomly finding him and stopping his progress, phones not working, car accidents. Just random events that if you're not aware, you would just think it was life happening. But it's not. It is them working against you. He only was able to fight against them because he knew that it was them doing it.
I don't care what you put in my way, I'm not giving up.
And so he purposed in his mind to not allow them to win. That movie is a huge metaphor of what I'm trying to say here, and that's why I'm bringing it up. The devil has a path that he wants you to be on. And as long as you follow it, you are right where he wants you to be. But the minute that you start venturing off, you start seeking out Yah, you start reading your Bible more, you start watching videos like this, you start putting distractions away. He sends things to you to get you back on his path and not where you need to be going. It's things you don't even recognize. The most used things are your finances or something with your job or your health or your family. He might send a family member or a friend you haven't heard from in a while. He might send thoughts of depression or sadness. These type of things and others he will use in order to get you off track and back on the path he has set for you, because he does not want you to obtain the promises our Father has for you. He's trying to get you. You must resist him. We are warned. Be sober. Be vigilant, because your adversary, the devil, walks about like a roaring lion, seeking whom he may devour. Resist him, steadfast in the faith, knowing that the same sufferings are experienced by your brotherhood in the world. 1 Peter chapter 5, verses 8 and 9. This is real stuff, and I can guarantee that it is happening right now with many of you. The devil, your adversary, is walking about like a roaring lion, seeking if he can devour you. If you're not strong in your faith and convicted, he will work against you and get you off track. Know with assurance, he does not want you to obtain the blessings our Father has for us. And so he is coming at you. If you're like everyone else in the world, he will win because you're not walking in awareness of this reality. But if you're like Matt Damon in that movie and walk in awareness of this reality that the devil is putting people and obstacles in your way in order to steer you away from Yah, then you have a better chance of fighting against him and winning. You can't ignore the devil and just act like he's not there. This is not what you do. You must know your enemy is there working against you, and you must not allow him to win or be successful. Please don't be like the people that I used in my example and say, I know this, and just agree with me. You need to know this and move accordingly in strength. You must walk in conviction, and the only way this works is if you walk in an attitude of doing Yah's will. There have been so many people that have been exiting my life or from being around my family because the enemy is setting traps for them. Even though I have warned them, they were not strong enough to fight against the enemy themselves and not let him win. You must not let the devil beat you and remove you from the path to Yah. This is real and it is happening. So the next thing you need to do, and it's probably the most important step, is to make sure your mission statement of life is to do the will of the Most High. So what is his will? And now, Yasharel, what does Yahweh your Elohim require of you? But to fear Yahweh your Elohim, to walk in all his ways and to love him, to serve Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart and with all your soul. That's Deuteronomy chapter 10, verse 12. Or as Yahusha explains, you shall love Yahweh your Elohim with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. This is the first and great commandment. And the second is like it. You shall love your neighbor as yourself. On these two commandments hang all the law and the prophets. Matthew chapter 22, verses 37 through 40. The problem with most people are that they are idolaters, and they focus more on many other things besides our Father. To do our Father's will is to love him with all of our heart, our soul, our mind, and our strength. In order to do this, we must make him our priority. Serving him must be our priority. Doing what pleases him must be our priority. His first commandment is, you shall have no other gods before me. That's Exodus chapter 20, verse 3. And what most people don't recognize is that the doctrine of Satanism that has been spread in this world is not about the worship of all these false pagan gods. I mean, don't get me wrong, that's definitely in our influence with these pagan holidays and false religious worship in these churches. But that is not even the biggest part of worship that most are under. Most people are Satanists not because they worship Satan, but because they worship themselves. What they want, what they desire, what they need is the main priority for them. And after they have handled those things, then they find a place to put Yah in. With that example I spoke of, the reason why he went into depression is because he desired a car. Instead of him putting Yah first and trusting in Yah to give him what he needed, he had a family member push him into a situation that eventually got him to the goal that he desired, but not at a position of power that our Father could have done if he waited for our Father's will and not pushed his own will. He put himself over Yah. He was only thinking about his own needs and desires, and therefore allowed Satan to move him out of alignment with Yah. If after we talked about the restoration, and he said that he was going to make Yah the priority, when Satan brought in the distraction, he would not have allowed it. Mind you, he knew he was distracted, so earlier he deleted social media off his phone, and he tried to get his attention focused in the right place. But he did not do what was the most important thing, and that is put Yah as his priority. It is important that in these days, the Most High is your priority. Don't worry or focus on yourself. Don't focus on your situation. Focus on Yahweh and his promises. You must turn into a servant. You must make submitting to Yah your focus and your priority. It cannot be about yourself any longer. If you're focused on these worldly things, you are going to be devoured because the devil is coming for all of this stuff. Everything that the people of this world are currently being supported by is going to be removed in order for them to transition the world into the next phase. The most valuable company in the world right now has recently become NVIDIA. Why do you think that is? It's because the companies of the world are investing in artificial intelligence because they are about to replace humans with computers and robots. Every part of our economy is in a bubble, and that's going to pop and make the 2008 crash look like a small event. It's all coming apart, And if you're so focused on yourself and what you have going on, you are heading right for the trap. Imagine focusing your life on goals that don't even matter. A friend of mine recently called me and asked me what I thought about all this election stuff. I told him my view has not changed since the last time he talked to me. If I were him, I would take that money he was saving in that 401k and I'd spend it and enjoy it before he loses it. He's going to lose that money. Yahusha advises us where to store up our treasure. So if your bank account has been your store of treasure, you need to change this mindset because as Yahusha advises, it's going to happen. He says, do not lay up for yourselves treasures on earth, where moth and rust destroy and where thieves break in and steal. But lay up for yourselves treasures in heaven, where neither moth nor rust destroys and where thieves do not break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. That's Matthew chapter 6, verses 19 through 21. Understand, they're going to take that money from everyone. Whether they take away your access to it through the banks, or the value of it decreases so fast that it's not worth anything. If this is where your treasure is, you need to make some changes. Listen, I know I'm saying a lot of heavy stuff. The reality, it's hard to hear and deal with, I get it. But once you live in reality, it helps you walk in more conviction. If you ever need a reality check about all this, always go to usdebtclock.org and watch the debt. And then after you look at the debt, then look at the leadership and what they have said their plan is to deal with this debt. And it should tell you all you need to know because there is no answer. No answer except spend more money. Even Trump, who people think he's going to save the country, he spent more than Obama did when he was president. There is only one trajectory that we're heading in. And I get it that it seems pessimistic, but reality, it's reality. You cannot change it. Strength and conviction in the truth allows you to live in it. Fear and lack of faith makes you avoid it. What do you have? My next point of advice is know that everyone is not coming with you. I have said this many times before, and at this time, it's important that you hear it again. Everyone that you know is not coming with you. It's time that you start dealing with this reality. This may be very hard to hear. This may be the hardest thing for you to deal with. You may have family, parents, children, siblings, cousins, good friends, co-workers, church members, people you care about. Listen, you cannot force them to come with you on the ark, and you have to mentally deal with this now. And I know this may be hard for you. You have to come to terms with it and really ask yourself if you're willing to go down with these people all because they don't love our Father the same way that you do. Now here's the thing you may not have considered. I know you may want them to go with you, but on the flip side, they actually many times unknowingly want you to come with them. It goes back to what I was saying earlier about Satan using people to get you off track. These people sometimes are unknowingly or knowingly being used to bring you down. And you have to make your decision if you're going to allow this to happen or not. This isn't some fake movie with a happy ending for all. Many people are going to fall. There will be people you know that fall because they do not truly love Yahweh more than they love themselves or other things. I mean, you can lead the horse to water, but you can't force them to drink it. Are you willing to go down with these people? That's a decision you need to deal with now, not later. It's a hard question, I get it, especially when dealing with your parents and your children. I'm speaking personally. But go back to Genesis with what happened in Sodom and Gomorrah with Lot's wife. Then Yahweh rained brimstone and fire on Sodom and Gomorrah from Yahweh out of the heavens. So he overthrew those cities, all the plain, all the inhabitants of the cities, and what grew on the ground. But his wife looked back behind him, and she became a pillar of salt. That's Genesis chapter 19, verses 24 through 26. In the book of Jasher, it says, and he overthrew these cities, all the circle of the Jordan, and all the inhabitants of the cities, and that which grew upon the ground. And Ado, the woman of Lot, looked back to see the destruction of the cities, for her compassion was moved on account of her daughters who remained in Sodom, for they did not go with her. Jasher chapter 19, verse 52. You see, some of her daughters who did not listen to the plea from Lot to leave wound up staying and being a part of the judgment of Sodom. Lot's wife was obviously consumed by this, and even though she was commanded not to turn back and live in the promises and blessings she was given, Because of her daughters, she turned back, and she was judged and fell into the same judgment as Sodom. She fell into the same judgment as everyone else, even though she was blessed. It's because she was affected by those who did not listen. This will be the same for many people, unfortunately, because they love their mother and father, sons and daughters, sisters and brothers, more than they love Yah. And Yahusha said those that do this are not worthy of him. He said, "He who loves father or mother more than me is not worthy of me. And he who loves son or daughter more than me is not worthy of me. And he who does not take his cross and follow after me is not worthy of me. He who finds his life will lose it, and he who loses his life for my sake will find it." Matthew chapter 10, verses 37 through 39. Many of your family and friends love the world more than they do Yah, and they will be judged for it. I deal with this personally myself. I have family close to me that even though they know all these things are happening, they cannot let go of their attachment to wickedness and sin. They do not love Yah enough to let go of the world. And if they do not make the right choices, they are going to be judged for it. It's the reality. It bothers me deeply. But I'm not going to share their fate because they lack strength and love for the Most High. It's not going to happen. I will tell you how I deal with it. I personally exhaust all options. I'll put it all out there. I make sure I am clear about what I believe and how I feel about things. I bring up things that are uncomfortable and that they would rather ignore because it's easier. But I rather personally know that I did all that I could to save their soul rather than later feeling that I could have done more and said more. Too many of you try to avoid difficult conversations with those you love so you don't offend and cause conflict. Cause conflict, not from a spirit of anger or contention, but from a place of love. Don't misunderstand me. Here's the risk. In the end, when things heat up in this world, because you know you could have done more, you may let that knowledge turn into guilt, and you may get attached to their same fate, and you do not want this to happen. What I am saying is that now is the time to turn things up a notch with your family and your friends. If people aren't rejecting you, it's because you aren't walking enough in your faith. The truth offends, and it hits to the core, and it's the truth that will set people free. Ignoring subjects because you just want to live in peace with people is a compromise with sin that you do not want to have. In ancient Israel, according to the Torah, this was not something that they were allowed to do. If people were in sin in Israel, they must be judged for it, and it must be called out and dealt with. Because we live in a land of wickedness, and this wickedness of Babylon has spread around the world, people have learned to tolerate and condone sin, and have a to each his own mentality. That mentality needs to go, especially with the people that you love. It's time to have difficult conversations and have enough love of Yah that you can deal with the rejection that will come from these difficult conversations, because it will happen. Your tolerance of sin is wrong. Your glorying is not good. Do you not know that a little leaven leavens the whole lump? Therefore, purge out the old leaven, that you may be a new lump, since you truly are unleavened. For indeed, Messiah, our Passover, was sacrificed for us. That's 1 Corinthians chapter 5, verses 6 through 7. You see, when you tolerate sin, you learn to compromise and work with the devil. Purge out your acceptance of the devil, and if that means your family is separated because of it, then that's their choice, it's not yours. You can't feel guilty because they have accepted sin. You can't feel guilty because they want more of a satanic lifestyle. I'm not telling you to give up on them. On the contrary, I'm telling you to do more. Let the situation be that either they repent and turn from their ways, or they reject you. In the end, this will help you deal with everything later when the world changes, because you will know that you sincerely tried. Keep trying to warn them, but no, there is a time when it must stop. And for me, with most people, I feel like that time is very near. You are preparing to get in the ark Yah is preparing for us. And just as in the days of Noah, not everyone will be coming along. Now, when it's too late, they will try. But that time for many of them, it will be too late. Know what you stand for and live in your convictions, regardless of who accepts it and who does not. Now, I have a lot more to say. I'm getting pretty passionate with this, but the last thing I want to convict to you is that you must endure to the end. So you must have trust in Yah, and you have no fear. You cannot let the enemy win and beat you so much that you do not endure to the end. In these days, you are required to do two important things, and you must be building yourself up for it now. You need to walk with trust in Yah, and you need to not walk in fear. Remember all these countless scriptures. Trust in Yahweh with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your paths. Proverbs chapter 3, verses 5 and 6. Delight yourself also in Yahweh, and he shall give you the desires of your heart. Commit your way to Yahweh. Trust also in him, and he shall bring it to pass. Psalms chapter 37, verses 4 and 5. Tell Yah the same as David did. Whenever I am afraid, I will trust in you. In Elohim, I will praise his word. In Elohim, I have put my trust. I will not fear. What can flesh do to me? Psalm chapter 56, verses 3 and 4. It is important that you actually live through this and make it a mainstay of your life. You need to have trust. Know the plans he has for us, plans to give us a future and a hope. Now, in regards to fear, remember, Yah did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and a sound mind. This actually goes right along with the trust issue, like I said. But because fear is such a prevalent issue, and it's exactly how the enemy seeks to come against us, this needs to be emphasized too. Fear not, for I am with you. Be not dismayed, for I am your Elohim. I will strengthen you. Yes, I will help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. Isaiah chapter 41, verse 10. Be strong and of good courage. Do not fear, nor be afraid of them. For Yahweh your Elohim, he is the one who goes with you. He will not leave you, nor forsake you. Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 6. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and of good courage. Do not be afraid, nor be dismayed. For Yahweh your Elohim is with you wherever you go. Joshua chapter 1, verse 9. The fear of man brings a snare, but whoever trusts in Yahweh shall be safe. Proverbs chapter 29, verse 25. Yahweh is on my side. I will not fear. What can man do to me? Psalm chapter 118, verse 6. The answer to that is nothing. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Let not your heart be troubled, neither let it be afraid. John chapter 14, verse 27. As soon as Yahusha heard the word that was spoken, he said to the ruler of the synagogue, do not be afraid, only believe. Mark chapter 5, verse 36. These things I have spoken to you, that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. John chapter 16, verse 33. For Elohim has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind. 2 Timothy chapter 1, verse 7. But even if you should suffer for righteousness' sake, you are blessed. And do not be afraid of their threats, nor be troubled. 1 Peter chapter 3, verse 14. All these scriptures and many more tell us that we should not fear. I could keep going on and on with them. In the world that we live in today, where it feels that the walls are closing in on us, and the wicked seem to be in a more of a dominant position than us believers, sometimes we can lack having the faith and trust that we should have, and we possess the actual opposite, which is fear. Having fear is the opposite of having faith, and you need to make sure you understand that. Drill it into your brain. Fear is the opposite of faith. The more fear you have, the less faith you have, and vice versa. Stay faithful and endure to the end. The one who endures to the end will be saved. This is a common saying in the scriptures that most Christians often they just ignore. And you will be hated by all for my name's sake, but he who endures to the end will be saved. Matthew chapter 10, verse 22. And because lawlessness will abound, the love of many will grow cold, but he who endures to the end shall be saved. Matthew chapter 24, verses 12 and 13. For we have become partakers of Messiah if we hold the beginning of our confidence steadfast to the end. Hebrews chapter 3, verse 14. For you have need of endurance, so that after you have done the will of Elohim, you may receive the promise. Hebrews chapter 10, verse 36. Blessed is the man who endures temptation, for when he has been approved, he will receive the crown of life which Yahweh has promised to those who love him. James chapter 1, verse 12. And he who overcomes and keeps my works until the end, to him I will give power over the nations. Revelation chapter 2, verse 26. He who overcomes shall be clothed in white garments, and I will not blot out his name from the book of life, but I will confess his name before my Father and before his angels. Revelation chapter 3, verse 5. I mean, these scriptures say it all. We must endure and overcome. We must stay faithful to the end. It is very important that we walk in this and we live like we understand this. The world is coming at us. We cannot ignore this and live as if we don't recognize the battle that we're in. We must stay ready and equipped and endure to the end. He who endures to the end will be saved. So whether it is the end of the age or the end of our lives, we must endure to the end and be faithful. It is important that you live like you know this in your heart. It is important that you represent this. This needs to be your focus and your mindset. The reason why the devil has pushed so much false doctrine like the pre-trib is because he has neutralized a great deal of believers, creating a mindset that does not promote the endurance that is needed in order to finish this race. It is important that you remain faithful and endure to the end. Now let me also say this. If you're looking at what is going on in this world negatively, please change this view. Yes, you may be isolated and you may not have what everyone else looks like they have. But that is because people are living in falsehoods that will not last. And while it looks like it's all good for them, they do not have what will sustain them, and they are going to fall. And those relationships that seem to be good for them, they will collapse, and everyone will turn on each other. That's not for us. We are being prepared to come into our Father's kingdom. We are the most blessed people on this earth, and therefore, our lives are much different than everyone else. You are not in a position to be negative about anything. You are entirely blessed. And if you just look at what is happening in your life and what is about to come to you, you should be walking in straight gratitude and blessings and just peace. This is what you should be feeling every day. Just waking up at hallelujahs because you are about to be abundantly blessed and promises. The end of the Bible that has been written in prophecy is about you seeing it and being a part of it. You know how blessed that is to say that? What I'm trying to say is that it should be plain and easy to see, if you are aware of the times that we're in, that the world is getting ready to shift. You yourself must not allow yourself to be taken down with everyone else. Remember the advice I gave. Please stop reacting to every headline and every event that happens. Know that the devil is trying to get you. Resist him in every way. Make sure your mission statement of life is to do the will of the Most High. Now, do you remember what the will of the Most High is? If you do not know this, you must make this your major change now and know it completely and live through it. Also, please know that everyone is not coming with you. And you must endure to the end, so you must have trust in Yah and have no fear. It is imperative that each of us engage in the activities that will breed power in our spiritual lives and will help us be ready for what's coming. I keep telling my sons, don't be idiots, knowing all of this is happening and then be so weak that they fall to the enemy. There are some people that will go down because of ignorance. They didn't know any of this was happening. You do not want to be one that falls because of weakness and attachment to sin, because that's just dumb and is weak. You must walk in strength and walk in conviction. It is clear that the world is moving in a dangerous direction, and you must put your faith in action and live through it. No more half-stepping. All these things that's happening right now, we have never seen this before. This is not a game, and it's very real. I ask that if you truly love Yah, that you truly submit to him and make him your priority. You are very close to the finish line, but you must endure. So my message to you all is to make your faith the priority. Make serving Yah your priority. Make learning more about him your priority. Do away with everything that distracts you from him. Nothing in this world is worth going to hell for. Nothing in this world is worth being judged with the truly wicked. Don't let weaknesses and temporary distractions keep you from eternal blessings and promises. I mean, they're coming if you just keep going and endure. We are the generation that will see the kingdom of Yahweh come. If you understand how blessed you are for this to be your reality, please live in confidence through this and make sure that you endure to the end. Finish this race strong. And be blessed. Hallelujah. Praise Yah. Okay. Thanks for watching. If this has blessed you, please make sure to like it and share this video with others. If you have not done so already, please make sure you subscribe to this channel. Yah willing, I upload every Friday. Also, please make sure to follow this ministry on Facebook and Instagram, as well as on my website, truthunedited.com. I want to thank everyone who is sowing into this ministry. I feel very humbled by this assignment that Yah has given me, and your support is truly a blessing. I thank you for assisting me with carrying it out and serving Him. I'm truly grateful for you. You know who you are. Thank you again for your support and allowing Yah to work through you. Be blessed. Okay. Thanks again for watching, everyone. I love you all.